Talk too much about the science content and everything, but this is a school screening, so if you'll bear with me, I want to mention a couple things. We tried very hard in the film to be accurate in the science content. So there's a few things that you saw up there that maybe I'll highlight for you. First of all, you saw at the end, there was an actual Supreme Court ruling, and that the situation about stranding deaths in the Bahamas actually happened in 2000. There was a scientist whose name is Kenneth Balcom, who is very much sort of the prototype for the character played by David, and he confronted the Navy upon finding dolphins and beaked whales, which is like a large form of a dolphin. It's a beaked whale, it's a small whale, but a big dolphin. It would look like a big dolphin if you saw it on the beach. He confronted the Navy, pursued them for 3 years. At that time, in 2000, 2001, the Navy had not ever acknowledged that its sonar testing could cause this kind of damage. And finally, in 2002, under the pressure from Balcom and others, the Navy did finally admit that its sonar had been the cause of the deaths of the dolphin. And this continues to be an issue that is very much out there today. You also saw reference to a Supreme Court decision within the story we talk about, and then at the very end. In 2006, the Natural Resources Defense Council took the Navy on in California and was able to obtain an injunction stopping them from doing sonar testing in California waters, just like we depict in the story. So in the logic of the story, that's why they've gone back to the Bahamas. That ruling from the California court was appealed to the Supreme Court, and as you saw, the Supreme Court ruled, and they actually gave a sort of a split ruling, one that removed some of the restrictions from California, but kept some of the restrictions in place. So there's been progress in this area, but it's something that's still a very, very significant issue. And if you have a chance, go online, Google a little bit, you'll find out a lot more about it. It's an interesting thing, and it's something that's very important, and we hope that you give some thought to it. Another aspect of the science that I'll mention is the language, the interface between the humans and the dolphins. You heard we talked about the idea of creating an artificial whistle language that would be a way that humans and dolphins can communicate. This is being done by scientists in Hawaii, particularly a scientist named Mark Lammers. There have been, over the years, a number of famous scientists who've been involved in this kind of a process. John Lilly is one, Lou Herman is another one. This is something that, if you go and check it out, it's real. It's kind of, have you ever seen where they're working with great apes using sign language? The idea of working with dolphins using a whistle language would be very similar, but the belief is that those who are working on it believe that the dolphins have a greater language, much more significant language capability than the great apes would have. What we depicted up here was that kind of a whistle language, and the language that we created was actually created using a real whistle language that is used by human shepherds in the Canary Islands who communicate over long distances using whistles. So we actually got the recordings of that and used those to pattern the words that you hear the dolphins doing. So